food is the way. It's like a Trojan horse into hope.
Oh.
Chef José Andrés.
Chef and humanitarian José Andrés.
It's hard to call him anything less than an amazing American success story.
2 Michelin stars, nominated for a Nobel Prize.
Everybody that had been in trouble, this man runs and rescues.
Almost from the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, José Andrés and his team have been on the front lines.
World Central Kitchen and his partners have served more than 30 million meals in Gaza.
Said, tell me what you eat, and I will tell you who you are. Jose, you are a restaurant guy. Why are you talking about policy? Because good policy is good politics.
I think that's the realest advice that we've ever gotten from someone qualified to give that advice, which
100%.
is, yo, at the end of the day,
We don't care about the religion, the political party. People are people. And I'm tired of seeing hunger all around me. Everybody forgets the promises of the past. I want to deliver. Cook. In Spanish, is cocinero. Cocinero is the person that really is on the fire, is on the stove, controls the fire. My father always told me that if I control the fire, then I could control my life.
What story do you want to be told about you when it's all said and done?
The story I want to be, we can change the world one plate of food at a time.
Cheers.
Well, this is your show. And I'm so proud you brought me here, guys.
No, thank you so much
Jackie,
for having us. Appreciate
Brian,
it.
thank you for having. Because I know that mainly you do this, yes, with restaurants, and I'm very happy you've been doing this now for so long, that you promote neighborhood restaurants, smaller restaurants, mom and pop restaurants. And I know in a way I don't belong to that category, because in the moment you have more than one, you have two, and then it's already big, and now I have so many. But then I realized that I never wanted to have a restaurant company with many restaurants. What I wanted to have is stories. But the only way a cook has to tell stories is through opening restaurants. My restaurants are no businesses, my restaurants are stories of the people behind every dish. So yes, maybe I got one restaurant too many. And in a way, I don't think I am a big restaurant company. In a way, I am many stories that are part of an organization of great people that one dish at a time, we tell a story. So thank you very much for inviting me to your place.
others might look at all those restaurants and people can admire all these different things. But the thing that we admire most is you're also super, super aligned and accepting of change. You've always been embracing change. How do you embrace change?
It's a lot of examples I can give you that sometimes people will say I've been in the right side of history, and other people will say you're in the wrong side of history. But then you learn that it's never a perfect black and white, that it's always a very thin line of separation with what is right and what is wrong by some people's standards and by other people's standards. Me, I always try to see the entire community as a whole. Example, I opened a food truck, Pepe, sandwiches of Spain. But many people don't know that one of the reasons I wanted to do the food truck is because it was a moment that food trucks in some cities across America, including Washington, D.C., in a way they were a little bit under attack. And they were under attack because they were not being given the right permission, so they were being pushed away from neighborhoods. Even restaurants were complaining that, why is this food truck in front of my restaurant? And I realized that I enjoy those food trucks so enormously. That food trucks was a great way, especially for young people or not, that didn't have a lot of money, that they will not get even a loan, but that they were hard and they had some savings. And that was a way for them to own something for first time in their lives.
Right.
And I thought, I'm enjoying those food trucks. Those food trucks are part of my city too. Yes, everybody should be making sure they pay taxes, they employ, right? All of that is great, but I'm not gonna be here pushing the food trucks away from my neighborhoods. So I did the food truck in a way to say, I'm next to you, I hear you, I'm gonna support you, because actually I'm not here to put you out of business, I'm here to make my city better. So this is lessons that I've learned through my life, that I wanna be there next to the people that are making it happen. Even sometimes it's always a very thin line, because always you are going to have somebody who's going to be complaining, hey, why are you restaurant people? Why are you supporting food trucks? They're competing against us. I think creating a city doesn't belong just to one group alone. Belongs to all of us. The most people are successful, the better cities will fare. Therefore, I'm improv giving a chance to everybody, yes, with the right rules of engagement, but not with rules that stop people from being part of the city.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I think that's just a testament to the fact that you have fluency in so many different spaces, which we now see you talking with world leaders. Despite all the accolades and so many titles that you have, you still refer to yourself as a cook. You know what I mean?
Well, I say the word cook because cook means cook. In Spanish is cocinero. And the word cocinero, growing up in my country, is a very big word. Cocinero is the person that really is on the fire, is on the stove, controls the fire. My father always told me that he was a nurse, that if I control the fire, then I could control my life. Controlling the fire, in essence, is controlling who you are and the destiny of what you can achieve. So for me, calling myself a cocinero was a way, not humble, but realizing that actually I was not a very good chef, because I still don't know to this day, almost with 40 restaurants, how to run a kitchen. I realized that saying I'm a cook is you realize more than any cook that you are only as good as the people that you have around you. That if one day the two dishwashers don't come to work because the buses or the subway shut down, the entire restaurant collapses, because the most important people in the restaurant was not the GM, was not the chef, were not the owners, but was those two men and women working hard on that dishwasher room, that without that, everything collapses. At the end, it's understanding that we are as good as any department if in our entire system. And for me, saying I'm a cook is recognizing that I've never been a good chef in the sense of running the entire operation. As I grow older, the more I know I know nothing. And this is very humble, because it's the truth. You think I'm an expert about the Spanish cooking? I can tell you that in the last year alone, I learned about 40 dishes that I didn't have even a clue. Therefore, here, the ultimate expert on Spanish cooking. You find out stories about 40 dishes I was even unaware. So now, take this away from Spain. Now I need to know about the world. The more I know nothing. And this is very humbling, but also it's amazing, because I only know that the world I have ahead of me is a world of learning and being inspired by people that are out there, and sometimes we are highly unaware of. And that's why I love to be alive in this moment, because I'm highly aware of what I know, but I'm more highly aware of the many things I'm still clueless.
That's amazing. I think you stress the importance of team, right? What are some of the characteristics that you look for in people, or when you're looking to build your team?
It's a long time I interview people.
You haven't interviewed people in a long time?
Long time. by
Oh,
now.
really? Who does the interviews for you?
Well, I mean, every one of my restaurants have head chefs.
Yeah, of course.
We
yeah.
have an amazing team in the home office of chefs of chefs. We have amazing GMs and director of operations. And I always say that this is, I always hated bringing a chef and putting him in a kitchen and asking him to cook for you. We've done it sometimes, but every day more and more I try to keep away from that, because if you are not able to look at the resume of a person and knowing what it works and looking in the eyes and say, are you who you say who you are? When I opened my first restaurant, Jaleo, in America, I was 23. And I was with many people in the kitchen that technically they were not even cooks. Some of them was just the people were around that we hire and we put in a station, and they will tell you, well, I just began cooking 3 months ago. And I learned that sometimes I had to change my mindset because I will come from two Michelin star restaurants and sophisticated, expensive restaurants, and you learn that at the end everybody had the talent to be great if you gave them the opportunity.
Right.
I'm very impatient. I'm telling you this too, and I'm impatient. I'm not the type of saying, I'm gonna give you all the time of the world for you to good. No, I'm not such a perfect angel-like person either. But at the same time, I understood that sometimes I have people now in Jaleo, in other restaurants, people like Elmer and Maria and Secundino. They've been with me 30 years.
Wow.
It's almost people that you could argue they learn from me, and now I can tell you I'm learning from them.
Right.
Because
100%.
to be in one restaurant, in one kitchen, against all odds, making it day in and day out, and making those restaurants successful, those restaurants, they've not been successful because José Andrés. They've been successful because those people took ownership of those places, made them their own, and they are the ones that go through the mayhem of running a restaurant and a kitchen possible. So who hires? I always say that people hire themselves. I am a big believer of flatter organizations, even it's easier to say than to do. I'm a big believer that everybody understands who the boss is, but not because the title behind the wall, but because the leadership role they play with boots on the ground. Flatter organizations better than pyramidal because somebody sits above and has never been on the ground. When flatter, very much everybody has to be with boots on the ground.
Right.
Everybody becomes who they become, not because the title behind the door of their office, but because they are right there in the front lines making things happen. They has its imperfections too, but at the end, when people have goodwill and good north and a very simple mission of what we need all together to achieve, at the end is never the perfect decision, but whatever is the decision that the people on the ground are making in the moment. Everything else is just failure. When you give people the possibility to adapt and take ownership of what happens, chances are that you will always end being more successful than not. That's what I've been always trying to create around me.
Yeah.
From an outsider looking in, of course, you have so many great team members that are holding you down in so many levels, but it seems like your life is crazy. Like you have so many things going on. How do you maintain a balance of everything?
Obviously, the network of family and friends is very important for all of us. And I've been very lucky to have an amazing network of family and friends. Starting with my wife. She's been with me 30 years. If I didn't found this woman or this person in my life, I wouldn't be here. There's no way. Because she kept my north. She kept me in connection with what was important. My daughters. But then a network of friends that have been amazing. Inside work and outside work. I think we all need to do more to make sure we build around us a very good network of friends that you only know when in the worst moments you know who your friends are because they're the ones that they are next to you. The people that gives themselves not because who you are or the money you have or the title you may have, but because they really believe in you. I will tell every young person always to look for those people, for those friends. You are always going to be better by having those people around you. And now I'm very lucky to say I have friends that they've been with me all my life. And these people I disagree with, they second guess me on things, but you know who your friends are and precisely you have those people that will not tell you what you want to hear, but they will tell you what they think. And then you can make whatever decision, right or wrong, out of all this information. So this network of family and friends for me has been obviously vital and is what got me where I am. Did I got myself in way too many things? Did I got myself in joining the forces to trying to end hunger in America on top of running my restaurants? Yeah, did I put myself in trying to do a global food institute because I believe food policy sucks, and until we don't have good food policy in America and around the world, the world will always be hungry. And I'm tired of seeing hunger all around me and everybody claiming and clapping on his speeches that they always end in a big hole that goes down, and everybody forgets the promises of the past in UN and other places. I'm tired of that. I want to deliver. I want to deliver for the young people that are following behind the footsteps of people like me. I want to stop giving the speeches that nothing happened with them. I'm tired of clappings. I'm tired of clappings on things that you said in a vacuum. I want action. That's why I like to be with boots on the ground. Obviously, World Central Kitchen, that gave me an opportunity to show that my own profession, we feed the few in the good times, but our same profession can feed the many around the world. Our profession, the food people, that is beyond chefs, beyond cooks. We can end hunger in the world if we understand the role we play. Food is the problem right now of many issues. Problem of health, obesity, problem of hunger, problem of the way we grow fruit is the way we are destroying our waterways by contamination with the fertilizers we use. So it's the ways applying to climate change in the way we grow our foods, or governments are putting a stronghold and controls on food. So food is becoming the new kind of war zone. What is happening in Ukraine right now, in a way, is a way to control a country that produces 400 million meals for every year. They feed 400 million people every year with what, in a way, what's happening in Ukraine is not use our democracy, but is to feed the world. At the end, why I'm involving myself in so many things is because I'm trying to connect the dots. And I'm fascinated by understanding that if we are only in one dot, it's okay and it's important. But I'm trying to not be expert, but trying to understand the connections between the different issues: immigration and hunger and poverty and obesity and health.
Yeah, everything is
and the environment.
interconnected.
Everything seems that one has no relationship with the other, but if we will go, you will see that everything is highly interconnected. I guess I am in a trip through life to try to be versed and understand the fascinating role that food plays in our lives, starting by food should be used enjoyment and happiness, and 3-star Michelin to food trucks in the middle of nowhere. All for me is equally part of this wall of food, but it's even bigger than that. We can end poverty, we can end hunger, we can be healthier, we can fight climate change, we can end wars. We can create a better world if we understand the role that food plays in our lives, in the lives of the world. The power of food is real, but we need to use that power. It's like the Force. In a way, we're all Jedis. What happened, we don't know we are Jedis. We need every food person to get the power of the force of food and use it for the betterment of the lives of the many. I do believe it's possible, but we need to believe that the force of food is within us.
Totally. And I think the stories that we try to tell, the stories around food, why we make these dishes, where these dishes are coming from, all these things, this is so important and integral in being able to move things forward, right? What advice would you give for the young cook controlling the fire coming up right now? If they're starting today, and it's a completely different landscape when you started, right? Especially around your abilities to storytell, what advice would you give to the new generation coming up?
And just to add a little bit more context, you started in an era where you started at this world famous Michelin restaurants, but this is time before the internet. They're living in an era with internet, QSR, ghost kitchens, so many things happening in the food space overall. And the trajectory has shifted. Considering all those things happening, like to echo what Brian said, what advice would you give to a young cook coming up?
This is a fascinating, deep question. Both of you are combining because this is the amazing conundrum and opportunity. I never graduated from anything. I left school. I didn't finish high school. I went to culinary school at the same time I was going high school. I didn't graduate from high school or cooking school. They gave me my title in cooking school 25 years later, and only because it was a good promotion for the school. And actually, I fell on accounting, English, and cooking. English and cooking, well, I think my accent has gotten better, and I think I can be saying now that I conquer English. Cooking, I think I can hold my own. But if it's an area I will say to everybody, especially the young people, give importance to the numbers. If you are not versed on them, remember you are only as good as the people around you. Bring people into your life that control the numbers. Don't let the numbers take over your dream, but make sure that the numbers don't take over your dream. Because if you want to be successful and you don't have $1 billion in the bank, success means that you have to provide for your people, to pay the salaries, to pay the vendors, to pay the farmers, to pay the lease, the landlord. And more important, you need to pay yourself too. So you have to be profitable. But not because it's a greedy thing, but because it's the only way forward.
Totally.
Your role is used in your community, especially if you open a restaurant, that opportunities will guide you to open in new neighborhoods, lower income neighborhoods, not so hot neighborhoods. When I opened my first restaurant, Jaleo, which I was the chef, but they made me partner, but was not my investment. The first year, so many days we were empty because we opened in a place that was not a lot of people. Now became one of the hottest places in DC, but we were empty. And when you have to go through an empty restaurant day after day, week after week, month after month, somebody has to pay those bills. And you only do that with hard work. I remember the days I was a chef in the other restaurant we had around Jaleo and then Café Atlántico. I will not cash my check as a chef because we barely had any money. And I needed to make sure that the cooks and the bartenders will be able, and the dishwasher will be able to cash their check. And this is the kind of things you go through to make ends meet. So just control the finances. Don't let finances to take over you.
Totally.
But be highly aware of them, because that's the only way you will not only change and have an impact in your community that you're working so hard, maybe a community that you are the only restaurant that opened there. Maybe you are the only restaurant that is giving dignity to the people in that neighborhood. Like Anacostia, anybody opening a restaurant in Washington, D.C. on the other side of the river, a beautiful part of D.C. with the most creative, beautiful people of D.C. that sometimes feels they don't belong to D.C. When somebody opens a restaurant there and risks their money and their life, young or not, to me, they have all my blessing, because in a way, they're doing something that nobody else has tried before. They're giving hope, they're bringing dignity. But success means that you will be there open in a restaurant business that is one of the biggest failure percentages of any business. Success is not that somebody is writing that you are the best chef in the world, or the hottest new restaurant, or the hottest new owner. But success means that your restaurant, 30 years from now, will be there. That's the way you are achieving success for you. But by you being successful means your neighborhood is doing better. The people in your neighborhood are doing better. You bring awareness to your neighborhood and you bring dignity to your neighborhood. This is the new frontier in a way that owners of restaurants, chefs, bartenders, sommeliers, young people that are adventuring themselves in the ownership of restaurants, is their responsibility and is their role. But success means staying in business. Don't blame others for your failure. You have control of your future. Still, even when you do everything right, still you may fail. And you should not feel ashamed. This may happen. You'll try it again. because you fall and you try again, and you fall and you try again. And actually, the people that fall and try again, they're not going to have my pity, but they're going to have my respect, because those are the people we want. Therefore, control your financials is controlling your future. If you are not good on them, bring people in your world that guide you and help you understand the financials. Now we can talk about hope
Yeah.
and destiny and quality and dishes and techniques and all of you want. But control your financials so you're in control of your life. Don't let others control you because you have no clue what is happening to you.
I think that's the realest advice that we've ever gotten from someone qualified to give that advice, which
100%.
is, at the end of the day, you have to run a successful business, right? One of the things that we get access to all the time, we talk to restaurant owners all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we thought having great food, having a great product, having a great look, we thought all of these things meant that we were going to be successful. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to your staff, to your community, to everyone that you're around to actually run a good business first. And I think that gets so lost. So to hear that from you, it's like, at the end of the day, you have to hold that down first, right?
This is a man that opened Bass Boys and Poets in DC. His name is Andy Shalal. Andy is young in spirit, a wise man. He's one of the leaders in Washington community. He opened restaurants where people like me will not open them. He's the one that opened the restaurant in Anacostia. You can be young or wise or old or all in between.
Yep.
But these people like Andy that are, the new explorers of the frontiers. We have many neighborhoods in America today that they don't have a market within 5 or 10 miles radius, where poor people are poor because even when they receive help from the government and the snaps, what we say stamps, food stamps, they don't have places that in their own neighborhoods they can spend the money.
Yeah. The food
People-
deserts.
Yeah.
True food deserts.
Yeah.
Food deserts means that these people, even if we're trying to help them, their neighborhood is forever will be poor.
Yeah.
Because they don't even have a place where to use that money.
Totally.
So they have to go far away. It's a big opportunity for people to open markets, to bring food trucks, to open a little diner in humble neighborhoods. But then is when policy is important. And you say, but Jose, you are a restaurant guy. Why are you talking about policy? Because good policy is good politics.
Yeah.
And if we have
100%.
politics not making the right decisions, even with the goodwill of good people trying to make the cities better, nothing changes. If we are able to be connecting the dots with the policy that happens in the high ends of power, not only in our Washington City capital and the White House, but in every single state.
Right.
If we create good policy that becomes good politics, connecting the dots with where people are in the ground, with boots on the ground, and we're able to get good policies that support the opening of restaurants, food trucks, diners, markets in poor neighborhoods where they have no chance of having one. And we're able to be spending the food stamps where a woman, a mother, a single mother with 3 children that this is still working and still is poor, and she's able to spend her money in her neighborhood. That money is channeled into her neighborhood. That neighborhood becomes better. Food is the way. It's like a Trojan horse into hope.
Oh,
Yeah, that's exactly what we
That's
always
why
say,
we
man.
all need to be thinking, and that's why I told you that the financial even should not be about money, but then it's about money.
Yeah.
Good wishes and good efforts cannot fail into a business that becomes unsuccessful because at the end of the year you are not able to cover
Right.
the losses.
For sure.
Success means running a successful business. Nobody should feel ashamed from having a successful business. The only way we are going to be changing the world is by having successful businesses that solve the problems that the people really need us to resolve. Then we can dream that the future is sweet because we can be making sure that our restaurant food industry is part of the solution and not part of the problem.
You know, having interviewed,
Thank you, Charlie.
I didn't know we got a re-up.
Cut!
We got,
We got a re-up.
Take this one.
We have some drinkers over here. So we've been doing Righteous Eats now for about close to 4 years. And during this time, having interviewed many restaurateurs in New York from all gamuts, from all facets. And we're learning that, restaurateurs are gangsters, in the sense that they make things happen by any means necessary, right? So they're problem solvers in whatever ways that they can, especially the small mom and pop businesses where the owner has to wear 6, 7, 8 different hats. Now, you being a world-class restaurateur, I know that you're a problem solver, but when I saw that you dropped off food in Gaza, OG, I was like, yo, how'd you make that happen?
I'm surrounded by an amazing team of people, but World Central Kitchen has done already over 37, 38 million meals in Gaza. But at the same time, we've done 2, 3 million meals in Israel.
Right.
We feed people and we help people. We don't care about their religion, their political party. People are people. Food and water is a universal human right. Life is complicated, and life always seems is making you take sides. But when it's about human respect, can anybody disagree with me that everybody, anybody, anywhere should be going to bed without thinking they're going to be under attack by missiles or tanks? And when I say everybody, it's everybody. The people of Israel and the people in Palestine. So if somebody tells me, why are you over there? Or why are you over there? So no, I'm in both places. Because what people deserve is our respect. And the only way you give respect is being next to them.
Right.
And when we go to a tornado or to a hurricane, I don't look if I am in a blue state or in a red state.
Yeah.
We are supported by people to help people. And that's the way life should be. Everything else becomes complicated questions to impossible answers. At the end, I only know that people want the best for themselves, for their families, for their loved ones. But I'm a guy that believes that what is good for me must be good for others. You cannot only wish goodness for yourself. If I want to protect my daughters, I'm not gonna be protecting them, putting them behind a wall.
Right.
I'm gonna be protecting them, putting them in the real world. What is good for me must be good for others. If I wanna protect my daughters, I need to make sure that I am also part of protecting the lives of the daughters of the others. My daughter Inez, who came with me to Ukraine in the early days of the war, when I told her I didn't want her to come with me, I want her to stay in Poland, she told me, Daddy, how do you want me, as you always preach, to be part of solving the problems of the world if I don't understand the problems of the world? To change the world, we all need to be taking some risks. My daughter shut me down in the moment. I know my wife got upset, but my daughter crossed into Ukraine with me in the early weeks of the war in Ukraine. I was very proud of my daughter. I was very proud of that very simple idea, that we are not gonna be improving or changing the world without taking risks. We can all make a difference. We don't need to go to Haiti. We don't need to go to Ukraine. We don't need to go to Gaza or Israel or Jordan or Syria. We can all try to improve the world right here in New York, in our neighborhoods, right in Queens, right in Brooklyn. I saw it during the pandemic when I went to New Jersey, when I went to Newark, when I went to the very forgotten neighborhoods that in the middle of the pandemic they needed food. When I went to Harlem and my good friend Marcus Samuelson, his restaurant in partnership with World Central Kitchen, we were feeding elderly homes and hospitals where those places had nobody to feed them in the early days, weeks, and months of the pandemic. You see, big problems have very simple solutions. What are those simple solutions? With everyday citizens. Some known, like Marcus, some unknown. They say, I'm here to be part of the solution. This is the way you change the world, my friend.
100%.
One meal, one plate of food at a time.
Totally. You talk so much about storytelling and the importance of storytelling. How do you think new technologies inform your storytelling ability? I mean, I think you're on record saying how your daughters are the ones that put you onto TikTok. Like, what? Talk a little bit about these new tools and how it affects and informs your storytelling today.
This has been happening from the moment humanity controlled fire. Controlling fire was a new technology.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the cook.
It took thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. We don't know. But control the fire is what makes humans. Humans are more powerful. Cooking our food is what makes our brains grow and be smarter. Something so simple as controlling fire, even if we didn't understand fire, but controlling that fire is what makes humans what we are. Controlling farming, understanding that we could be farming, that we could, in a way, control the wild forests and the wild and make it into farms, controlling animals, milking the cows, milking the sheep, milking the goats. This, in a way, was technologies that were helping us advance human civilization.
I mean, even the way that you share messages when you are on the ground.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not using a camera crew. You're just turning your phone on and just giving people updates.
I love that you mentioned this because I believe what we began doing many years ago with World Central Kitchen, now many agencies like UN and others are using our same technique. So I'm very proud of that. That information should happen with boots on the ground in real time. And this 60 minutes style of bringing your phone, putting yourself on the side and turning yourself 360 degrees and telling what you are doing in real time. Not what you will do, but what you are doing. This is a simple way of technology to, in emergencies, to share people what you can do. I love that, and we need more of that. But technology is gonna go beyond that. Controlling the water, controlling the climate, controlling with technology and robots, that all of a sudden our farmers will not be studying how to be a farmer in the traditional way, but they will become engineers.
Right.
They will become drone controllers. They will become temperature and technology controllers. I see that one day the ocean will become one of the best places for farming. I'm not going to get into the details, but I'm very fascinated and I'm fairly knowledge on the issues. Is a chef called Angel Leon, 2, 3-star Michelin by now, in South Spain, in Puerto de Santa Maria. He has a restaurant called La Poniente, but this is a guy that is being able to control things coming from the oceans in ways he doesn't even realize.
Right.
He's been able to create blue light out of his rim that he controls, and you are in a dark room and your water is blue.
Wow.
He's like the new Avatar chef. He's been able to work with biologists because he wanted to create a restaurant that was high end, but all his ingredients will come from the ocean. He didn't realize, but he's been coming up with techniques that even he didn't invent them. He gave them the opportunity to be known by all. Like these native tribes in Central America, that was this kind of wheat that went from land to the ocean and through hundreds, millions of years went back to land. Sorry, it went from the ocean to land and from land to the ocean.
Back to the ocean.
And this is a grain like rice, like wheat, that those tribes harvest every year, twice a year, a grain that grows in seawater.
Yeah, it's like new source of food.
That they are able to grab and make a tortilla bread-like.
Amazing.
What this is telling me is that we are not spending enough investment and money and time
Right.
in understanding in the moment we are lacking sweet water. That we need people thinking, can the ocean beyond the seaweeds, beyond becoming fish farms, the place that the next rains of the future can one day grow wheat and corn and soy, using seawater in the coastlines, bringing life, bringing control of the erosion, controlling the ever-growing floods that are happening as the poles are melting. Sounds scientific and sounds science fiction. But I'm only want to say that I love this type of stories
yeah.
because it gives kind of a window into a future that I hope we don't have to go to. We can do better for planet Earth.
For sure.
And science fiction and comics sometimes is the way to remind all of us that if we are not careful, right now we're talking about food waste.
Yeah.
And that is enough food to feed the planet. What happens if tomorrow you and I, we're not talking about that, but we're talking today planet Earth is not producing enough food to feed all of humanity.
Right.
If we are not careful, this may happen.
This could happen.
Yeah.
If we are not careful and we don't take food seriously, this may not be a science fiction comic or movie.
It could be a reality.
This may be a reality.
Yeah.
Therefore, let's make sure that every food conversation counts.
I mean, listen, it was an honor to speak with you. And I want to ask, what story do you want to be told about you when it's all said and done?
The story I wanna be part of is not a story about me, but it's about a story of humanity itself. When we all come to the world, we all fall in love with food for one simple reason. Because our mothers, if they were healthy enough to do it, or our dad, or our grandma, or our grandpa, when we come into the world, the first thing happens to us is that the first tangible that resembles love we receive is food.
Right.
This forever seals the love we have with food. You can be white or black, Asian or Arab. You can be Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Buddhist. You can come from Africa, from Asia, South America, North America, Europe, or Oceania.
Yeah.
If something brings all of us together, is that our mothers, our loved ones, fed us within the first hour we came to life on this planet. Food, without a doubt, is the most powerful thing we have to bring all of us together. So I only want to make sure that everybody is highly aware of that. The love for feeding others is what keeps us, all of us, sane. Because we invite people we know, and how many of us we don't invite people that we don't know to our table when we meet somebody that came for the first time to a city. That's some other the city in the world you are at. Come, I'll introduce you to my friends. Where do you invite them? To a table, to a restaurant, to a home. Where are you sharing? Food.
Yeah.
Where are
Breaking
you
bread.
sharing? Food is at the end what keeps humanity sane.
Yeah.
So, if anything, that's what I would love people to tell. Not about me, but about the humanity of who we are.
It's perfect.
Thank
I mean,
you so much.
is there anything else that you would like to add?
I don't quote French people.
I thought you were friends with Eric.
Well, he's from Andorra.
Okay.
He's not really French. Listen, I'm a guy from Spain, and Spain is Spain because we were next to France. And
On the record, I like Spanish food more than French food.
oh my God! But for the record, the revolution that happened in Spain in late 80s, early 90s, following the revolution of Nouvelle Cuisine, only happened in Spain because we had France next to us. So I'm quoting a French, Briat Savarin. I mentioned because before Nicolas Appert, the guy that very much invented canning. But Briat Savarin is the guy that wrote The Physiology of Taste.
Okay.
Physiology of taste. Okay.
In French, the Physiologie du Goût, 1826. He's a guy that on the first edition, his name was not in the cover because he was, I will not say ashamed, but afraid of what his friends will think about him. He died on the same year very much of publication. His name only showed up on the second edition. Briat Savarin is the guy that said, tell me what you eat, and I will tell you who you are. But this is the guy that said, The destiny of the nations will depend in how they feed themselves. I know you've been very happy, obviously, and doing an amazing work in bringing the opportunities and the stories of people in New York and around. But the truth is that every food person matters. Every business, every plate, every dish, every history behind the dish, every business, every food truck, every diner, every restaurant, every hotel. Everything matters because it's nothing more important than feeding humanity. And the very big problems of humanity can only be solved simplifying the big problems into simple solutions. For food people, we can change the world one plate of food at a time.